join us again for another version of the Journey 2020. We are so glad you could take the time tonight to join us. And we're particularly glad that my co-host, Mr. Charles Morse, is here with his expertise. Now, see, I kept him today.
Okay.
His expertise in communications.
Well, see, I keep forgetting to bring my dictionary, but that's okay. Yeah.
Well, see, I knew you didn't bring it this week, so I figured I'd go ahead and keep it simple, all right?
Okay. All right.
But Charles is a wonderful co-host, and we have tonight a guest. Well, I can't call Haki a guest because he has been part of our program on several occasions. But Haki, we're proud to have you, and please, and also to find out that we have this upstate New York connection. But we may get into that. But we want you to talk about some of the work. See, I knew that you were a quality guy, from way back. Now I know where some of that comes from. Charles, again, you're the link that has connected some of the extraordinary people that we've had on the show.
Well,
and,
the thing is that see, we understand the connection.
Okay.
But somewhere in the eating of the corn, people don't understand they were having a conversation about that. But he didn't carry the blue with him like you and I. Okay, so somewhere he got a bad dose of some corn or something, and it kind of affected it. Yeah. But that's okay. It's all good. But anyway, welcome to the Journey 2020. I'm Charles Morris. We have a very informative show this evening. We're going to talk about what Haki is doing with the Young Fathers of Central Florida, but also we're going to give you some information on the annual Black Men's Health Summit as well. But all of that is coming up. But we're going to hear some more about this corn and the hockey and what is he? I found out that he plays hockey. Brother on skates. Ice skate.
To put it in perspective, how we got to talking about that, there was a video running when I came in.
Right.
Before we started our
Right.
show.
ESPN was highlighting the first black hockey player.
Exactly. And one of the comments that I made is one of the most underrated and unknown extraordinary black athletes in our history. The brother's name was Willie O'Ree, and he played in the National Hockey League for several years. One of the things that he had said is that he felt that if he had been given more of an opportunity, that he could have extended his career. But he did some extraordinary things. So in terms of, at times we'll get into little known black history facts. I'm going to ask our audience to, if you take the time to look up some information, on Willie O'Ree, a black hockey player. But in starting that conversation, our guest, Haki Nkrumah, had said that, well, yeah, I used to play hockey, and we'll just talk about that a little bit.
Well, most often people, when they get into the conversation about hockey, especially right now, the Stanley Cup playoffs, they have the Tampa Bay Lightning playing the Chicago Blackhawks, and Tampa Bay, of course, the Florida team. But I grew up upstate New York, so it was very, very cold.
Okay.
And most of the young kids, the only job opportunities we had was to work at the ski lodge.
Okay.
So that's where we learned, and there was I have 4 other brothers, there's 5 boys. So there's times when we wanted to skate, we would just skate and played and had fun doing it. So, people are surprised a lot, but there's just look at the NHL now. There's a few
black hockey players.
Subban is one of the best. So it's like we can play hockey as well.
There you go.
But yeah, I had no problems or issues of playing with it because that's what I grew up around.
Exactly.
Because in Utica it was cold most of the year. It's not like Florida.
Well, as they say, one of the things, audience, that we discovered is that, and I may have mentioned it some time back, that I lived in Utica for about 18 years. And so to find out that Haki, and somehow I'd missed that
Right.
in our previous interviews, also was from Utica, it really warmed my heart. Not
Black
to
Shears, I can't believe that.
yeah, that's right. We talked about folks that we knew and the kind of thing. So the comment about corn was I had said to Haki is that in growing up primarily in New York City, that I had wondered why people would bother eating corn, because often the corn that we got from the supermarket
Right.
was had very little taste. It tasted pretty pasty, and I said, why would people bother spending their money to eat this tasteless stuff?
Right.
And then when I got to Utica, and where we lived, you could go by the farmers'
They
roadside stand.
roadside stands. They have fruits,
And,
vegetables,
exactly, and they would have just picked it from the field.
fresh.
And after having one or two versions of that, I said I didn't need salt, I didn't need butter, I didn't need anything. And, I found out what real corn tasted like. So that's what audience got us into talking
We used
about
to hit home
corn.
runs in the cornfields. We used to
Okay.
eat corn on a regular basis, so I
Oh,
grew up with
okay.
it.
All
So to
right.
hear someone say they never had eaten corn, that was kind of funny.
Exactly. Exactly. But one of the things too that I wanted to say, and because you grew up there, it was an interesting community to be in, and I think that's what kept us there for many years. Because although it was a small percent of the population, probably 8 to 10% of the entire population, but there was a tight African American community there, and I found myself really cherishing that because the individuals that I got to know, they ranged all the way across the spectrum of the community. And there was a sense of connectedness that was there that I found to really be of value. And I'm just wondering, and I don't want to skew your comments, but do you think that influenced you in terms of, let's say, even the work that you're doing now?
Yes, I mean I grew up in an Italian neighborhood. It was primarily Italian neighborhood, and we just didn't see a lot that we seeing today. Like you would figure that things would be better, but I grew up in an Italian neighborhood for years and never heard the word nigger. Andy Gambino, which was one of the most influential families, or the Gambino family. You know the
Right.
history of them.
Oh yeah, that's it.
And their son Andy, my brother Spencer, they were best friends. They grew up best friends. So he would be in the Gambino household. You know the influence they had when the Little League championship trophy is the Gambino. The name is sponsored by the Gambino family.
Okay.
The hockey, baseball, basketball, everything. Any championship had the Gambino name at the end was the sponsor. So you know how influential the family was. But things were just different back then. Period. It was more of a family, more people looking out for one another. So it was just different altogether. But of course, I think it influenced what I do now, because I used to see how a lot of my friends would come to my house, and years I would for years I would think it was because of me. I'm thinking that they love me so much, but then when I find out they were there when I wasn't even there, and come to find out my father was talking to them. He was speaking to them. He knew what their grades were, and I didn't know this at the time. So not until then, and I mean I'm kind of ashamed to say it, but I really started appreciating my father more then when I saw how others appreciated him, because I took for granted what he did. He paid the light, he kept the lights on and the food, so I took a lot of that for granted.
Okay.
But once I saw and I was able to step back, I saw how influential he was in a lot of my friends' lives.
Yeah.
So it affects what I do today, and it helped me understand what real fatherhood was and what a real man was. Because I never looked to the pimps I never looked to them. I just looked at my father. He worked every day.
Okay. Okay. That is really interesting because I've had occasion, many young people said, my parents somehow, especially fathers, said somehow between the time I was 17 and the time I turned 24, said my father turned from an idiot to being brilliant.
Yeah.
you know.
you just you just don't know. And another thing I talk about is that as it relates to my father is he never threw a baseball to me. He never threw a basketball to me. He never did any of that. I never seen my father in a pair of shorts in my entire life.
Okay.
Never, never. I never. And people say, well, don't you feel neglected? No, I have 4 brothers and cousins. They threw me the ball. They did all those things. I just saw him go to work. And I saw him do things that I saw that, okay, this is what a man's supposed to do.
Right.
Never mistreated me or my mom or any of us. So I just saw a real man. And so people think that father's supposed to do this or they supposed to do that. No, they don't.
Right.
Every father can't do everything. You're not going to get a father that's going to throw the baseball to you the best. You're not going to get a father that's going to help you study, your math. A father can't be everything,
Exactly.
especially when he has other children. So appreciate what you have with him.
Okay.
And that's what we try to teach our fathers now, that when they are with their children, they don't your little children don't expect you to be superhuman heroes. They don't expect that. You can get a ball and sit down with them and roll it back and forth for an hour. That's all they want.
Exactly.
So we try to help our fathers to understand that you don't have to be everything.
Okay.
You be the best you can be, and give them the opportunity to explore,
right,
and learn to do what they love to do. So that's how we do it, and so that relates with how I saw things.
So,
just because my father didn't throw me the ball or do those type of things, I didn't think he was less of a father or less of a man.
Right. Well, the couple things that I'm resonating with as you're talking about, and that is that fathers don't have to fit, a one particular role or one particular image.
Yeah.
That you can have, the fix-it dad, the sports dad. You may have the computer nerd dad, etc.
Yeah.
But what I was hearing is that presence, in that child's life.
The presence.
Yeah.
And you just don't want to do certain negative things, no matter who you are, no matter what type of father. You don't want to, abuse your wife verbally, physically, or the child's mother, especially in front of them. You don't want to do it when the child is not around, but you definitely don't want to do it in front of them. So there's the drunkenness, being drugs, all that type of stuff. You don't want that. So we tell them, even though you don't have to fit a particular mold, you do not want to do these types of things.
Right. That what you're doing.
Yeah.
Should be literally a role model.
Those actions. Those actions, your kids see every one of those actions.
Yeah.
They can be 1-year-old. They absorb it. So that's what we really, because some of our young fathers say, well, they don't know what we talking about. No, they don't know the context of what you was talking about, but they know that vibe is not right.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
they understand that.
The tone and the volume and the expressions that are on people's faces.
That's why when we tell our fathers that they need to read to their children at a young age, because they need to hear their child need to hear their dad's voice in a soothing way, in a learned way. They shouldn't associate their father's voice as they grow up with punitive, hollering at me or hollering at mommy. That's the only time I hear his voice. And then they're going to associate their father's voice with something that's negative. And they're going to grow up like that. So that's why reading, speaking softly, not standing over your child when you're trying to discipline him. Get yourself on one knee. Get kind of face to face with him. Because you're a giant to him.
Right.
So, and when you're talking to him and you're standing over him, that's intimidating, and he learns that. He or she learns that. So that's why reading and things of that nature, that's soothing and learning to that child is very, very important.
One of the things also that I was listening to is that you were talking about allowing the child to explore. You know, and that's something that with the young dads that you work with. How do they deal with that aspect? Because often in some of the young people that I see in my practice, they are so busy trying to be one of two things: either the authority figure, as in do everything that I say, yeah, and often not as I do,
Right.
or the other way, where the thing that I see is often they're trying to be quote unquote the young child's friend, and in exploring, allowing the child to explore. What's the father's role in that? How do you, especially with the young people that you see?
Well, I mean, you said something important. You said sometimes they either want to be the tough guy, they have to be the disciplinary all the time, or they just let the kids do whatever they want. I mean, I see, some fathers will let kids eat barbecue. 1-year-old try to eat barbecue chips and Skittles and everything else while drinking soda. You can't, that's not healthy. But they thinking that they letting them eat. Go ahead and eat. Let them eat. And they arguing with the mother. That you can't do. That's
Okay.
not the exploring I'm talking about.
Okay.
I'm talking about exploring like right now. Besides Charles' very expensive cameras, a child can come here right now, walk all over this place, and explore this room. It's not gonna get hurt. Not gonna cause any damages. And I was over my goddaughter's house during what was this last on Memorial Day, and Kanan, his name is Kanan. He was in the background. He was everywhere, falling, concrete. Didn't get hurt one time. Let them begin to explore, and that's how they're gonna explore and understand what objects are. And they start learning, okay, I don't think I need to go over in that area there anymore. Or I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't do that. Because even though that starts out small, that's where kids started. That's where I was over one of our father's house and he wouldn't let his daughter go nowhere. Sit back down. She was just trying to get up and play. Get down. So she feel confined mentally because he's badgering her every day with that. And he won't let her, you stay right here where I can see you. He think he's being good. He think he's being a good father because he's not letting her go in harm's way.
Right.
But he ought to let her get up and walk around or do something without him he can keep an eye on her, but don't make her feel that she can't move. And she's sitting there and she's frustrated.
Yeah.
So you can't, confine your kids like that.
One of the interesting things, there's some research that a colleague of mine, Dr. Wade Boykins at Howard University did, and he took a look at black infants and the physical movement and the activity of black infants, and he found comparing them, and he tried to match them up, with white counterparts. And he found that the black kids, just physically, were more active, were more used more motor kind of activities, etc. And so part of what he said is that often that unless the parents know that many of these kids are going to be more active, that they can, just as you say, in trying to control the child, wind up actually frustrating and stifling the child. Now, of course, you don't want the kid jumping off the curtains or whatever, but allowing that child to channel that activity. So, coming back to your fathers now, many would have, I would say, no clue as to what the right mix of allowing that child to explore versus, again, not having the child tear up the house.
Right. They don't have a clue. That's why we have parent training classes. It's funny. We had one session where, because I was asking the guys, did they know what their child's favorite color was? And they was like, how are we supposed to know that? The child's 2 or 3, so we got like 4 of them. We got their kids, and you can do a ton of experiment with balls. And we did 3 sessions with those balls and blocks. and they found out what their kid's best color was just like that.
Okay.
But we did us, you know, I wanted to show them things that you can do with your children.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's why we encourage all our fathers to get library cards. They all should have library cards. Because all activities are there free. You can go to many as you want. It doesn't cost anything.
Right. Exactly.
A library card. So that's why when we ask all our fathers, you have your library card? No. You have your library? All right, go. Come back. You have your library card? Yes, I got it. Okay, stay.
Okay.
Because it takes nothing to get that.
Right.
It takes ID. If you don't have ID, you need ID just to walk around in these streets.
Exactly.
A photo identification.
Yep.
So one thing lead to another, but the activities that these young men learn with their children to learn with their children. And
I like that, learning with their children.
yeah, they have to learn with their children. And the younger guys, some older guys don't even know, but most of the younger guys, they really don't have a clue because no one's really never done things with them like that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So does everything work out perfectly? No. You might get a kid, we find out is colorblind.
Okay. Okay.
So nothing is perfect, but you at least have to begin to do these activities with your children.
And you know, just with that little example that you gave, now, you know, if a father doesn't know that the child's colorblind, he may be wondering, you say, well, go over there, you know, get that red cup.
Yeah,
the child doesn't, you know,
if you have 5 kids there and 4 of the kids, after a series of different activities and exercises, this kid constantly goes to the yellow one. This kid constantly goes to the red one. This kid constantly goes to the orange one. This kid constantly goes to the white one. Your child all over the place. Then it might be something there.
You need to take a look, right?
And maybe we need to look at that.
Yeah.
So it's all a learning experience,
right?
You know, there's kids who have deficiencies. There's kids who, if these young fathers and fathers in general, mothers too, because we do a lot of parent training with mothers as well. But if you don't continually do exercises and different activities with your children, you're not going to learn anything about your child.
Okay.
And if you don't learn anything about your child, all you're doing is feeding them and changing them and letting them watch TV.
Yeah, that
child is going to be limited.
Okay.
Year after year, you know how important it is up to the age 5.
Exactly.
3 to 5, they should be performing certain activities or be able to perform certain activities at each age.
At each age. You know, what you're saying, you know, Haki, is so important.
And I'm not a psychiatrist now. I'm just going by our experiences.
Well, I think, quite frankly, what you've taken the time to delve into, to me, and again, my training is as a scientist, but as you know, if you just know the theory.
So I'm close.
And, you know, not only close, but I think it's important to connect the theory with the action. You know,
that practice,
right? With the practice, and only through the practice can you discover what works and what doesn't work, what is really true and what is untrue.
Absolutely.
You know, so I value tremendously, you know, what you're talking about. One of the things, and I'd like to talk a little bit more about the parenting program, because one of the things that I see in my clinical practice is often young parents giving their kids iPods and what do you call it, iPads and, you know, and
tablets.
A lot of material
Tablets,
things, and tablets, etc.
Half those kids don't know how to do it.
Right.
Especially our young fathers. Those young kids, they don't know.
Right. And so the part of the thing that I have some problem with is that often our young, you know, parents, both mother and fathers, get into getting things, you know, for their children, from the iPads on one instance, or the young father that feels that getting a package of Pampers, you know, and some infant formula is, you know, what they need to do, you know, in being a dad. And, you know, and I'd like to, my point was that often the emphasis is on things instead of the quality of time and the quality of, as you said, learning with that young with that
But
child.
that's just not with young fathers, Doc. That's with a lot of them. That's with a lot of them. That especially nowadays when society gets more comfortable with all this technology, it gives the parents the opportunity to not be parents and step back and expect the technology to teach their children. But to me, I always tell parents the most important thing you can buy children, especially my young fathers, is a set of crayons. The set of crayons would never, none of that would beat it.
Okay.
When it comes to a child, because iPad, a child ain't got nothing to do with iPad anyway. They don't know what iPad is.
Okay.
But crayons, crayons give you color. Crayons give you dexterity,
creativity,
and it gives you the ability to take what's in your mind and put it on paper. I don't care if you two. Just draw a picture of mommy and daddy. Draw a picture of the family. You will see how they see them when they draw it. And they do it in color.
Okay. Yes.
Get a biratio. And you see them look for the white crayon or the yellow crayon. Crayons.
Right.
To me, they look at me all the time like I'm crazy. I said, that's all that crayons and balls. Those things, any other toy. And how much does crayons and balls cost? That's why I tell my young fathers, don't talk about you don't have money. If you have the time and those little things, you can sit down with crayons, look at paint. You can finger paint with your paint. You can get that $1.99 at Walmart. Finger paint. You can paint with them. Oh, I don't have the money to get paper. Yes, you do. You get a newspaper. You can get any kind of paper. You can get a paper bag.
Okay.
What the kid's going to say? 2-year-old, Dad, you got a paper bag. I can't finger paint with a paper bag. I can't crayon with a paper bag. They're not going to say that. So we're allowing technology as we get older, as our children get older, to have technology teach our children. And all we got to do is buy it, and that will take us off the hook. We can go forget them and do what we have to do.
Do what we do, yeah.
But the children, those little ones, they're so simple. And when I see, it's just funny when you see the clothes they buy some of these kids. The clothes have no idea. The kids have no ideas. You know what I mean? The kids have no idea what it is. It kind of reminds me. I hope people don't get upset with this, but it kind of reminds me of when they dress up these little dogs. These little dogs don't know what they got on, and sometimes it's uncomfortable for them. They be trying to take it off. Same thing with some of these children. They don't want to. I'm not comparing children with dogs.
Right. I hear you.
Some people are right in. They be like, "Oh my God."
Well, basically, what you're saying is it's for them. It has nothing to do with the child or the dog.
It has
basically for them.
Right. It's for their parents. And they waste money doing it. They save that money. Do something else with that money. So that's what we deal with working with younger parents, because them not understanding priorities. You dressing your baby up to go over your girlfriend's house so they can be like, oh, look, he cute. Baby cute without all that. They don't need all. You can put the baby in a pair of Pampers and the baby cute.
Like the $100 baby Jordans.
Yeah. That's the craziest thing. And what's funny is that how we as a society and as people, like, that's your girlfriend. She knows that you don't have $100,000 in the bank.
Right.
She knows you barely making it financially. So why would those Jordans on your baby make her think you got money? Why?
Exactly.
Girl, he hooked up. You must got money. Because that's what people do who have money. They spend unnecessary money on their children because they have it to waste. If you don't have money to waste, that's amazing to me. That's amazing to me. And they encourage each other.
Right.
Yeah, girl, let me get my son
one of those.
Where you get them from?
Right.
Girl, let me take a picture.
Right. Exactly.
And the dumb daddy be there saying, okay.
Right. Exactly.
He going right along with him.
with the program. And what you're saying is so important, because as Charles has expressed, a lot of this is for the self-esteem of the parents,
parent,
instead of the welfare of the child.
Say that again. Can you say that one more time? Because
Okay.
that's just exactly what it is.
It is the self-esteem of the parents and not the welfare of the child.
There you go.
know, and because a lot of times I'll have colleagues of mine, who you will look at a black family and say, well, they don't have no money. Why are they buying, the $100 Jordans, etc.
Right.
And thinking that
Baby
it is right, baby Jordan, and thinking that it is the how do you call it, the lack, the ignorance of the parents. But I would say many of those parents know that they're overspending, but because of the gaps in their own self-esteem, the neediness that they have, that in having those $100 on that child's feet gives them that temporary, illusion that, okay, my child, is got it.
Right.
Okay. And when when the child, goes someplace and lose one of those shoes,
Right.
That's
You
it.
can go in and lost and found. Go to any Walmart, lost and found. See a lot of them little baby Jordans and a lot of other things sitting up in the lost and found that they done lost.
Exactly. So Haki, and as we're talking about pieces of your program, just talk a little bit about, because you've done some tremendous things. I remember you had talked on the program before about the kind of things that you see developing in young fathers as they've come into your program. Because what I'm hitting on is that a lot of times the community, will see guys come in and they sagging, the pants sagging, the drawers showing, the shirt all, cockeyed, etc. And will stereotypically say, well, look at that, how can you expect anything to come out of that? And it's interesting because it almost takes me back biblically, where they said, well, what can come out of Nazareth? What good can come out of Nazareth? Yeah. But just talk a little bit about, you and some of what you've seen in the program with the young men that you work with.
I don't particularly, the sagging pants and all that, I don't put a whole bunch of emphasis on that. Simply because I let them put the emphasis on it. All I need to do is to get 4 fathers who sagging in the same room with their daughters with other guys sagging. They pull the pants right up. I don't got to say nothing.
Interesting. Okay.
Why don't I have to say anything? Because they don't want another guy's ass. Oh, excuse me,
that's fine.
No,
they don't want somebody's ass in their daughter's face.
Okay.
So they realize how disgusting that is when half your ass is hanging out. And this little daughter over here, and their kids. So you got to bend over to do things with them. So I just put them all in the room together. Here, y'all go over here. Here, I'll be there in a minute. So I don't have to say anything. So we think we always got to say something.
Okay. Okay.
You don't always got to say something. You can just allow them, put them in a situation where they see how that looks. What I love to do also is I love to see, or when I'm with them and we doing sessions, I'll have pictures up of guys sagging and how they look. I won't say anything about it. Next thing you know, they go out the bathroom, they coming back, their pants is just a little more snug.
Okay.
So we think we got to say so much. What are you gonna say? What are you gonna say? Pull your pants up. What is this kid gonna do? Look at you. What are you gonna do?
Okay.
Yes, sir. I'll put my pants up right now, sir. That's not gonna happen.
Exactly.
So we have to help them understand, why are you walking around with half your ass out in the public? What would make you think that's acceptable for a young man to do? Why?
Okay. Yeah.
Now, some of them do it because they have mental issues. Some of them do it because they have emotional issues. Some of them do it, they have self-esteem issues. Some of them do it because they have high. So they do it for a lot of reasons. Swag. Why do you have to? Man, let's not get into that whole thing. But I don't pay attention Well, I do pay attention to it, but I don't put a lot of emphasis on me telling them what to do.
Okay.
So when guys come to my program, I don't tell them what to do. Mm-hmm. All I tell them what to do is that you got to be paying child support or you can't be in this program.
Okay.
You got to have a visitation order or you can't get in this program.
Okay.
You can't be beating on your woman and expect to come to this program.
Oh.
You can't beat on your children and expect to come to this program. Mm-hmm. So there's certain things I tell them that I tell them.
That there's some bottom lines.
But that's the bottom line.
Right.
You know, you're not going to disrespect people in here. Mm-hmm. You can have issues with individual as far as disagreements, but as far as that abusing people, that's not going to happen. So, but I'm not there to try to, because there's too many things, Doc, that they can have. Just like I said, you have a lot of young men, you have a lot of people running around the streets every day, mental problems,
yeah,
emotional problems, psychological issues.
Yeah.
Look at half the stuff that's been going on. That cop and all them psychological, all of them sick.
Absolutely.
You know, so I'm not there to do that.
Right.
I'm not there to do that. But I'm there also to help them understand that this is inappropriate. Especially look at your children. Your children see you, your son. I was watching some video and they had this little boy on Facebook or something. They had a little boy pants sagging. He said, I'm the daddy. I'm the daddy. You ever see I'm the daddy? He was walking around and he got it. He had a little bottle of soda in his hand like it was a 40.
Wow.
He's like, I'm the daddy. And his pants was sagging and he walked away. He was talking to somebody.
Yeah.
I do what I want. Go on Facebook is one of the places to see it. And for people to celebrate that, but I'm not going to get into all the videos we see with these people with children. But I just don't spend a lot of time trying to tell them what to do in terms of the way they dress, other things like this. But it's important for us to help them see how they're being perceived.
Okay.
And how they're being misjudged.
Right.
Miss Haki, why they think about, because, you know, it's just like, I forgot who that was that said that, I think it was Chris Rock. He said the girl had the outfit on so tight, skirt came way up to here, and her breast was all out, and she had her hair out, makeup and eyelash and all that, and then he called her a prostitute or something. He said, "You're a prostitute?" So she said, "No." He said, "Well, you got the prostitute uniform on."
Okay.
Remember that one? When one of them said that. He said, "Well, that's the uniform you wearing." Or when Bill Cosby, the episode where he had the garbage can lid. He asked him, "What you like to eat?" When Vanessa brought the guy over, Dabney's, and they didn't know nothing about him and all this other stuff. And so he was talking to Dabney's. He said, "What you like steak?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "Okay, think of a nice, big, good, juicy steak." He put it there. He said, "Now what you like to eat with that?" He said, "Potatoes, some good potatoes." He said, "Okay, you put the potatoes on there." Then he said, "You like some onions?" And he was just like telling them different things. He said, "Okay, now what if I put that on a garbage can lid and presented it to you?" It's the presentation.
Oh,
he said, "So it's not that we don't like you. We don't like the way Vanessa presented you to us." So check out that episode. All right. So that's what that's how we have to help these young men realize that's how you presenting yourself. You're presenting the entire persona based on you sagging your pants, and especially you little dummies that sag your pants and still hold it up. That's the dumbest one. With a belt. I said, you got the level of dumbass sagging. Right. The regular sagging and the ones that holding their belt while they walking.
Right.
Now that's the dumbest sagging.
Exactly.
Like that boy, see that different levels.
Exactly.
I hate to say it.
I'll tell you.
It needs to be said.
I'll tell you a quick story. We were in New Orleans, a few years back. And we're riding down Canal Street and got stopped at the traffic light. And this little brother just thought he was just the baddest thing out there. Had the pants sagging all the way down below his drawers. And he was doing the little waddle
step. The waddle.
Well, I think he forgot to hold up the pants.
Yeah, we call it the doo-doo walk. They be doing the doo-doo walk.
Right. That's it.
Like they got doo-doo in their pants.
Right, exactly. Well, he got in the middle of the street. And the pants dropped all the way down, and the whole line of cars were there. People were just falling out. You know, it's so much the light changed. He was still trying to get his pants up, you know, and get out off the rest of the street. People were merciful, you know, and we were enjoying the show so much that everybody just stayed there and watched this kid. And I said, now look at that. Here it is. This kid is literally risking his life, you know, for thinking that he's being cool.
Right.
You know,
For thinking that he has swag.
that he has swag. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And I remember before Malone Stewart passed away. You know Malone Stewart was the undersheriff, and he told me how many stories that they've been chasing guys and they failed because they couldn't run.
Yeah.
Right.
Because the fans
Yeah, so I don't waste a lot of time with that because just like I said, these guys, and it doesn't relate to, because some of them say, well, y'all used to wear bell bottoms and platform shoes and all that. You know,
Really?
you could try to equate it,
Really?
and relate it to whatever you want to relate it to.
How do you equate that to that?
But that's what the ones that think that, you know, that think they smart about it. Those are the ones that want to say that. But I'm more interested in that these young men be financially responsible for their children, emotionally.
And these are some of the goals that
Yeah,
that you aim for.
these things are important to me. How their parents are, I don't care, but I do care that they get employment. So the issue of their attire needs to come up, whether it's the pants or just whether they know how to tie ties or wear shirts or even know how to buy a shirt. I was so surprised. We did this parent training program once at one of the community centers, and we had a tailor come in, and we were showing the young boys, the little boys, the 9 to 10-year-old, like what's your neck size, how you measure your neck size. Like when you go to buy a shirt and it says 16, 32 by 33, you know, what does that mean? And the belt size. And there was some staff who were grown men that came in there and said, I never knew what that meant.
Wow.
They were grown men.
Right.
They were grown, but they wasn't ashamed because they said these young boys learning this. And so that means that young man been walking around with shirts that don't fit him.
Right.
You know, and more than likely those are dress shirts. So that means you either going to a job, or you going to a place of business, or you is going to a socialized place where a suit is required. So
or your church or any kind of formal activity.
Right.
You know,
so that's what that's what we want them to know. You know, do you live in this apartment? Do you have a fire extinguisher in your home? You know, you know how many fire extinguishers you have in your apartment. You know, you have your child in there. You know, is your home child proof for your child to be in there? You know, those are the things that I care about. Their pants.
Is you know that's the.
But some people want to talk about that all the time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I went to a whole seminar about that. I didn't attend it.
Right.
I heard about this seminar. I'm like,
Yeah. Well, let me interrupt you because we've been going on now for 45 minutes.
Oh,
wow.
okay.
And
wow. Okay.
you haven't really introduced yourself and who you are and what you do. So people tuning in for the first time going, I'm hearing all this good stuff. I'm hearing this brother.
Well, you didn't.
I know, but I know. I'm saying I'm telling you that's my fault. I should have had you do that 45 minutes ago.
Right.
So I'm stopping you now so people they're hearing you and they're going like, well, let them know.
My name is Haki T Nkrumah, and I'm founder and president of Young Fathers of Central Florida, which is a nonprofit 501c3 since 2006 here in Central Florida. And my primary goal is to provide programming for young fathers, and we have about 7 programs now.
And ages from
our Just a Gentleman program is 9 to 13. That's not our fathers. That's a character, etiquette, and development program for young boys. Then we have our Teen Fatherhood Academy, which is 14 to 19-year-old, and the rest of our programs are from up to 24 years old. But our father support groups we have grandfathers in those groups. So and those we have throughout Central Florida. So we work with the younger boys, but our primary focus is the fathers from 14 to 24.
right.
And just like I said, we do work with mothers now. We're doing a lot of work with mothers because we're finding that a lot of young mothers, they just don't know what parenting is about.
Right, and and hopefully your program would grow even more, because as you know, the female is always the key. It's kind of like Vince Carter. Vince Carter. Carter. No, actually not Vince Carter. I'm trying to think. Is it Vince Carter? Yeah, it's
Vince Carter Sr.?
no. The gentleman. Yeah. Coach Carter. Remember the movie Coach Carter?
Coach Carter, yeah.
Right.
Samuel Jackson played it?
Right. Okay. Well, Vince Carter had him here as guest speaker 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
Very dynamic gentleman, and he was talking about the success of his program in the sense of basketball, how he used basketball, as a mentoring. But he said one of the first things he established with the young men that play for him, you got to go out and find your girlfriend. He said the only way those guys are going to play for him is that they're going to have to go find a girlfriend. And he used that tool. He used that tool as a way of a balance and helping them understand certain things about balance and responsibility and about being a man.
Okay.
So he kind of briefly talked about that. But he said one of the first things you got to do is you got to go out there and get your girlfriend. And then he keeps tabs on them in a sense of doing the season. Because however he explains it is it's a balance. Because of the role that she plays and how he sees himself. Because when you think about it, because knowing what we know, going off on a different subject, but yet the same. When I talk with Pastor Jenkins, my pastor who works in the prison system, generally, when the young man or when we go to prison, is usually something in reference to a woman or girl, because we're trying to impress. We're trying to associate ourselves with something so we can be manly. I'm a man and this is it. So it's that balance that a lot of times we don't recognize in the sense of why we do what we do, because a lot of times, as you know, we get real stupid when it comes to trying to impress ourselves with women. Okay, because that's a lot of times how we identify ourselves. I'm a man, so how she sees me, and then I'm looking at her, I'm looking at myself through her eyes. That's probably something that you can speak of.
Well, one of the things that and I'm sure that Coach Carter probably had some criteria in terms of the girlfriends that they look.
Definitely.
Because you know that especially in these changed times, that some of these little girls,
but see, that's the see, he's using all of that. Okay, he's using all of that in the sense of the structure and understanding and the mentoring, because he's now making them be accountable for their time, their homework, and all the things that. So he's trying to give them a balance of the girl, the basketball, and the homework. Okay. So he's trying to give them structure and say, okay, in order for you to play on this team, and according to him, he's been extremely successful as far as championships and all of his teams.
Bless his heart.
Okay. Right. And so, according to him and where he's from, and out in California, he lives in a rough neighborhood. All right. In the rough neighborhood, he said, I don't have no problems because they protect him. Okay. He has much respect there. So a lot of times when stuff going on, law enforcement calls him to go over there and say, can you help us defuse this situation? Because of the respect that he's earned and the respect that he shows. And of course, through the success of the basketball, when the gym is full and the cops are all concerned about because who's coming in, but yet they come to see the basketball and they're very successful, they play the game and everybody go home. Because of what now I'm saying he's established this, but you know that's through the grace of God and everything else. But I'm saying the key, which you understand, is when you're dealing with them, we already know that those girls play a major key in how they see themselves and how they act.
Absolutely.
Right.
One of the things, Charles, that we should do, I believe, if we can, is that if we could get Coach Carter on.
Oh yeah.
For
definitely,
segment,
definitely,
that would be great.
definitely. Now,
but as you were getting, and we're going to do that. But one of the things that I wanted to do is to Haki, with the programs that you've got, how do people get access to that? How do they find you? How do they find the programs?
Well, that's the difficult part about my organization is that we have the only teen and young fatherhood organization in the state of Florida. Right? I get calls from
with all of the issues that we have,
the only one. That's why we hold the only national teen and young fatherhood conference here in Orlando. We've had 3 thus far, and our 4th is coming up February 2016. Okay. So you have practitioners throughout the country that comes here for our conference. We have the only one in the state. I've gotten calls from numerous places: Melbourne, Florida, Jacksonville, Tampa, St. Pete, Miami, all over. Okay. So most of our programs now are people or agencies or Disney, for example. Disney sponsor our Teen Fatherhood Academy program. Okay. So it's difficult for just people in the community to get in a lot of the programs. But for our Young Fathers program with the City of Orlando, now any young father can get involved in those programs. Okay. All they have to do is contact the community centers in Orlando.
Any of the community centers in Orlando.
We have the one program with the city, but they get fathers from all the community centers.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
Great.
So it doesn't matter what community center you go to, you can be a part of the fatherhood program.
And that's a great connection, because at some point these guys do, either for basketball or hanging out or whatever, do make that connection to the community.
That's where you can go in some of the gyms and pull out 10 young fathers at a session. You know what I mean? So they're there. But I get more calls from outside of the state or within the state than I do from Orlando. I get more calls from cities outside of Orlando than Orlando.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Why do you think that is?
I think it's sad to say this, but a lot of guys they're ashamed of being a father. They're ashamed to have a child. And when they live here, more people know them. I think they seem. See, someone coming from what's this, Howie in the Hills, or someone in Lake County, or someone from Deltona.
Right.
If they come here, a lot of people don't know them.
Okay.
So when you get some guys, that's what I found, that it's just like when I did the Fatherhood Institute at Bethune-Cookman. You had some guys there who were fathers, but didn't want to come to the program because they were dating a girl and she didn't even know he had a kid.
Okay. So that was going to put him on blast.
So that dynamic is what we struggle with as well.
Okay.
We struggle with it as well, and that's why we try to struggle to help these guys understand. Don't be ashamed of being a dad, man. Don't be ashamed. If you can't get this girl just because you got a damn child, then you don't need to be with her, because if she don't want to do with a child and you got a child, you lying any damn way.
Right. Okay.
So you don't need to be with her anyway. So my main thing is, and when I talk to some of the girls, I was going to say something about these women, because the women are the primary focus of all this. I'm speaking to a group of young ladies, all were new mothers or to-be mothers, and they're all angry because the guy's not taking care of the baby. And I said, what was his game? What was his conversation? See, I was getting like New York.
Go ahead.
But see, now, because we done had this conversation.
Right.
Even you actually said it on here before.
Right.
Okay. So you try to go ahead. I'm sorry.
What is the conversation? What is the conversation that these young men are kicking to you, that you taking off your underwear for him and you just met him
12 hours ago. What is he saying to you? We can bottle that up, bro. But we can bottle that up. If it's so, we can bottle that up and make $1 billion. But it's not that. It's her.
Right.
Yeah.
It's her. Because it's sure not what he's saying.
Right. Exactly.
You know, and then so I asked him that to just try to understand. You just meeting this boy, you having sex with him, and then you mad and angry with him, and you don't even know his shoe size. You don't know his favorite color, but you giving him your most prized possession, and they expect for you to love you and Lil Raheem. He don't even know you and Lil Raheem. He don't care. And some of these guys tell me this, and then they just as bad running around. You don't know nothing about this young woman. Did you ask her if she get pregnant and you want her to give an abortion? Would she do it? No, I never asked her that. So why you expect her to get an abortion just because you said it? Didn't you ask her? Didn't you have a conversation with her? Oh, she ain't this and she ain't that, but you would run it all, you know.
You know,
So,
exactly.
but yeah, let me.
No,
but that angers me so much because these women should talk to these young women, and these men should talk to these young men.
Right.
Okay.
The women don't get a pass and just be able to say he irresponsible father. Be quiet. Shut up. I hate to hear. Oh, he ain't taking care of his child. Shut up. You know what I mean? How much work you doing with these young women out here? And then the dudes tell me she a gold digger. She just take you to child support. Yeah, she should take you to child support.
She's supposed
to, but she shouldn't even have to.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I mean? But I don't want to hear nothing from neither one of them.
But
yeah,
let's
Well,
go over.
we've got okay, Charles, go ahead.
Let's go over Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for your 8th annual Father's Week, starting June 15th through the 21st.
Yeah, this is the 8th annual Father's Week. Starting next Monday all the way through Friday. We have activities, seminars, and workshops. We have, if you have any questions on child support, father's rights, family law, Tuesday we do that at Callahan. You trying to figure out how can he get that to them, right?
Well, Monday from 6 to 8, you're going to be at the Callahan Neighborhood
We'll
Center.
be at Callahan Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Oh, okay, then Thursday you're going to be at the John Jackson Community Center starting from 6 to 8.
That's education and literacy.
Okay, and then on Friday you're going to be at the J.R. Smith Center.
Yeah, that's employment and entrepreneurship. If you ever wanted to start a business, you need to be at that event.
Then Saturday from 12 to 3 you're going to be at the John Jackson Center again.
The Jackson Center, we have a family carnival.
Oh.
Games, food.
Okay.
And then we have our Father's Day dinner on Sunday. So if you want to visit our website at youngfathersofcentralflorida.com, you can get this entire schedule. You can get information on the dinner. And this week, this is our 8th year, so we're expecting a lot of people. So we're doing everything from mentoring to responsible fatherhood, black male achievement, literacy, education. All the events are free to the public.
Amazing.
Okay.
Now is the website on Charles?
No. I'm going to put it up when I put up the video.
Okay.
Yeah, because I have it here. Youngfathersofcentralflorida.com.
Yep.
www.youngfathersofcentralflorida.com.
You should definitely come out. If you're a professional that works with young men and young women, come out to learn more, especially the father's rights and child support and family law night. We get a chance to talk a lot about the mother's rights, the father's rights, and be clear on what they are.
Okay. Let me throw this in real quick. This is something in reference to next Saturday. Let me put this up. Let me put this up real quick. This is the real quick. Dr. Angela Adams is because of what happened with the Orange County Convention Center. They didn't tell her that the date was not available for this coming Saturday. Right. So she's having the first E-Summit. So she's not having the annual Black Men's Health Summit.
No.
Okay, go ahead, Charles.
So what's going to happen is she is going to be at 6 different sites from 9 till 10 that you can watch on either Orange TV, or you can go to the website, which is Black Men Health. Yeah, Black Men Health. You can watch it there, or you can go to blackmenshealthsummit.com. The 6 sites, which one of them is not on here that I noticed, is that it's going to be in Oakland. There's a site in Oakland which is
okay, just down the road, right.
on the outskirts. But it's going to be at the Star 94.5. It's going to be one. The Blue Cross, Florida Blue Care, which is over in Winter Park, Seminole Health Department, Mount Pleasant Baptist Church, and the Worship Center, which is Frank Thompson over there in Pine Hills.
Right.
Those are the 6 sites that you can go to, and when you go to those sites, you will be given a voucher for July 18th, so you can go get your screenings.
Right.
So you need to go to this so you can go get your vouchers, so you can go get your normal screenings, which would take place in July. All of that is taking place 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. at these different sites. If you'd like to find out more information, I have I have it up, blackmenshealthsummit.com. You can check it out there.
All
okay,
right.
now, okay, I got it all right.
Okay. and we're right at the 8 o'clock hour, so it looks like we're going to have to sign off. And Haki, before we sign off, again, it's been such a valuable time, in having you on again. And I just want to ask you if you have just a last thought before we close out tonight.
No, I want to thank you guys for having me on, but I hope that you really can come out to some of the events of the week. They're educational, and it's just so important that we show our young people that we are there for them and that we want to learn as well.
Okay.
So that's important.
Absolutely. Okay. Learning with them.
Yes.
All right. Audience, again, as you can see, we've presented you with what we feel is the best, both in our guests and in our educational efforts in the program. Like we like to say, the journey is from you to me and from me to you so that we can reach a higher level. Good night. We'll see you next week.